All right, hello. My name's Jason. I use he, him pronouns. This is a game we're going to play Escape from Dino Island. This is a game by Sam Tung and Sam Roberts. This is session 1 of 3. And this game is part of the Gauntlet online gaming community. We're a group of gamers that play online. We have 100 or so games on our calendar each month, all kinds of different games. If you're interested in watching our games, check it out. Maybe you want to join later. Go to Gauntlet-RPG on YouTube. You'll go to the channel, and you'll have a list of hundreds and hundreds of different games of dozens and dozens types, and watch something you want to see. Let's go quickly around the table. Just introduce yourself and give us your pronouns, and then we'll move on. Kyle, tell us about yourself and your pronouns.
I'm Kyle, he, they. That's about it. I'll be playing the soldier this run.
Okay. Robbie?
My name is Robbie. I use he, him pronouns, and I am going to be using the playbook for the kid.
Okay. And Matthew?
Hi, I am Matthew. I go by he, they pronouns, and I will be playing the paleontologist for this series of sessions.
Okay, great. So as I said, we're playing Escape from Dino Island. And the players are going to be a group of explorers looking to explore and escape from a mysterious island that's populated by dinosaurs. The big inspirations for this game, it's probably pretty obvious, Jurassic Park, but also there's a lot that you'll see in the moves and as we play that will maybe emulate some of the stuff you might see in Lost. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that TV show. King Kong, what else? What else did they mention? A little bit of Tomb Raider kind of feel. I mean, there's a bunch of kind of cultural touchstones you may see as we play. So for our setting, we pretty much have a blank page. We're going to create our setting, with our session 0 and then through our play. But there are a few things that we do know, and there are a few things that we don't know that will help guide us as we play the game. So these are the things that we do know. There's a mysterious island, a mysterious jungle island. There are dinosaurs on the island. There are some sort of high-tech installations on the island. Their purpose is unknown to you guys, though. Your group must find a way off the island. And then, like I said, we flesh out the rest. What we definitely do not know is, let me find that. What we do not know is how are there living dinosaurs on the island. We do not know that there's a man-made complex on the island. We don't know who built it and what is its purpose. I guess we do know well, your characters don't know that maybe at the beginning, but what we don't know is who built it and what is its purpose. And we don't know that the complex has fallen maybe just now or maybe some time ago. And we don't know what went wrong. So those are some of the things we'll play to find out. We're going to be talking about dinosaurs. Let me just say up front, I'm no genius when it comes to dinosaurs. This is going to be cinematic dinosaurs. This is going to be cinematic science. So what we say, you don't feel compelled to have to be scientifically accurate in our depictions, and they're likely not going to be anywhere near what real dinosaurs, real science is going to be. So just put that out there. It's more important just to have exciting science. It's the Jurassic Park thing. In Jurassic Park, there's I forget what they call them, but they're like the little ones that eat Dennis Nedry, the treacherous tech guy. That they spit out some sort of like venom, and that's not true. There's no evidence that those dinosaurs have any sort of poisonous venom. Well, in our game, they might, or they might, have telekinesis for all we know. We'll find out. if you guys go to either Roll20 under handouts, the basic moves, or if you want to use the Google handouts, take a look at the basic move sheet. The basic moves in this game, they're not extensive. They fit onto a page, and they're divided into two kinds of moves: peril moves and safety moves. Peril moves are things that happen under duress at times of action and excitement. And safety moves are things that happen at the quiet moments. They're the character building moments. Again, this game is focused on sort of creating a cinematic feel. So we'll kind of go back and forth between these peril moves, these high excitement actions, moments, and then these quieter character development points where we might use the safety moves. Um, Take a look at those. Like I said, there's not a lot of them. You also on your playbook, you each have at least one, maybe two starter moves or special moves they call it, which are really just playbook moves. For example, in fact, I want to get out each of your playbooks before we get going. So we have a kid, we have the paleontologist, and we have the soldier. All right. And I would recommend, if you guys have a printer sitting by, I would recommend printing out your playbook and the basic move sheet. You might find it useful in the long run to have it sitting in front of you. So the soldier's playbook move is kill or be killed. So it has its trigger and it has its effect. The paleontologist has a playbook move called Dinosaur Expert. And the kid has I know this and also ah. So you each have your special moves. So you're looking to kind of figure out a way to maneuver those into our game. This game does not track experience. It's designed to be a 1 or 2 session type game. Like I said earlier, we might go 3 sessions in ours, but this game is meant to be quick and to be played in just a few sessions. So it doesn't track experience. There is you might reach a milestone. Basically, halfway through the story, we will pause and you'll each get an advance. And those on your playbooks, those are listed as special moves. I guess you start with one or two special moves, and then you might gain another one from that second list that you'll see in the middle of your playbook. So, for example, the soldier will choose one from leave no one behind, gun to your head, or close quarters expert. So about halfway through, we'll have that moment where we have your advance. Our agenda in this game is to make Dino Island mysterious, dangerous, and full of dinosaurs. We play to find out if the PCs make it off the island. We find out who the characters are and who they become during the adventure. As I said, I think this game works best if we shoot for a cinematic feel. I would even say a very Spielberg-y kind of cinematic feel probably is the best fit. So, to my mind, a Spielberg movie are these tight, very well edited action scenes with equally tight, well edited, short character development scenes with a lot of quippiness, a lot of, you might even say, stereotypes. And when he's on his bad movies, I think Spielberg movies get kind of cheesy this way. But I like Jurassic Park, for example, and the character moments I think are real tight and quippy, and they're very they're well done. So aim to kind of like establish sort of a cinematic feel to our story. And the game doesn't really ask this, but something that comes up when I've run this before is maybe it's important from early on to kind of have a brief conversation. What kind of era do you want our game to take place in? I think the game assumes that it's roughly contemporary, relatively modern, but I think we could fit any sort of thing, from like the 1930s King Kong monster movie, a 1950s B movie kind of thing, a 1970s sort of King Kong kind of hippy dippy movie, a 1980s type action adventure buddy flick kind of thing, a 1990s Jurassic Park, or something much more modern and cynical, or whatever, anywhere in between. Does anyone have any thoughts like where they want our story to take, or when they want our story to take place? I think the default will just say
I have some
modern.
thoughts.
Sure.
I have some thoughts about that. How about and this is just me spitballing here. How about we make it like, yeah, like you said, modern and contemporary? Because I do like the idea of like I do like the idea of the dinosaur island, sort of like being revealed in an age of social media, in an age of like no secrets no longer exist in a world of perpetual surveillance. So this is something that the island is something that may have emerged. And forgive me if I'm sort of like jumping ahead in like the generation process, but like uh,
No, that's fine.
this is the kind of island that yeah that emerged like suddenly as if from nowhere, but also as a consequence of just like being stumbled upon. Like maybe I don't know, maybe the fire festival happened there.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah, how's that work for you other guys? Contemporary, modern? Yeah, it's yeah, let's go with that then. So it's gonna be more or less present day. Okay. Moving on. Safety. So when we're talking about, what playbooks, and we had, we're bouncing around whether or not we're going to have the kid in our book, or in our game. So we agreed that that's okay. And I mentioned that this game is sort of designed in a way where you can have your characters not really die. They can just get out of a commission. So uh, we can avoid some sort of particularly problematic material that way. But I think the general assumption is that it's a Spielbergy PG 13 kind of movie. So people get eaten, but it's always sort of like off screen, or there's fade outs. Although some of the stuff in Jurassic Park is pretty gnarly. Like people are flat out eaten, and body parts and stuff. But generally speaking, we're not talking about a hard R kind of movie. Is that okay with people? Is that kind of mood what you're looking for, or otherwise? Sounds like it's all cool. All right. Uh, Safety. So with that, we also will use our safety tools. I'm sure if you guys have played on the Gauntlet for long, you've run into each of these. But there is a handout on Roll20. It's called Safety. It has an X on it. And that is our first safety tool, is the X card. So if there is, despite our conversation, despite anything else we might have said, if there's something comes along and you're uncomfortable with it, um, just throw that X up on the screen. The best way to do it is to use your arms so that we can all see it, especially me. And can put in the chat too, but I'm not great at following chats when I'm playing a game. I get lost in all kinds of different screens. So visually is probably the best way for me to see that. If you are uncomfortable with something, I may ask you where we should go back to, and we will go down a different road. I will not ask you what it is in particular that bothers you. If you want to share it, you can, but you don't have to. We will try to accommodate, keeping everybody comfortable. So we have the X card. We also have lines and veils. If you, on this safety card, the safety handout, it says lines, it says veils. If you want to add anything under either one of those, push that edit button in the upper right, type in whatever it is you don't want to have in our game. So a line is something that you flat out don't want to have in the game. You don't want to see it, you don't want to hear about it, you don't want it mentioned, and that's fine. Put it in there. Veils are things that you're okay having reference to, or sort of behind a veil, behind a screen or off screen, but you don't want it in your face. You don't want to have a scene focused on it. So at your leisure, as we talk, feel free to add stuff to there. I will go back and look at it before we start play. Okay. Any questions about this? This is pretty much my quick little intro to the game, the tone, the safety, any of that needing any explanation. Okay. Let us get into the world and character creation. We will go, the game gives us a handy dandy one sheet called the situation to help lead us through developing our world. And I'm going to try to take notes as we discuss this. I'm going to put this, there's a handout called the situation. You guys can feel free to add to it too. And in the situation, I've listed out the questions that we're going to cover. And I'm going to try to scribble a little bit down here so I at least will be able to remember what we're all saying. But let's start in the very top. So the situation, it should be on your screen. Yep. And the first thing is part one, the mainland. You've come to the island together. Why? We can choose one of these 6 answers, or we can roll a die, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm gonna put each of you on the spot for these questions. The person on the spot, let them go ahead and answer, put their input. But then if the other 2 guys have some feedback, feel free to throw that in once the first person gets their opportunity to tell us what they think. So Kyle, I'm going to start with you. What do you want to do for this question? Do you want to pick one of these, or do you want to roll a die? We've come to the island together. Why?
Personally, hired to work here under Mr. Well, no, one of us is a kid. Maybe I could be up for rolling, or like one of the mysterious circumstances, I suppose.
Sure. And I'm sure, I mean, I'd go with whatever you're most comfortable with. I mean, yeah, trying to fit into the playbooks is a good idea, but we'll figure out some way to get them in. So I wouldn't, worry too much about whatever you choose. So he says, what was the one, number one? We were invited as guests under mysterious, or number 2. Which one
I'm
do
good
you
with
want?
either one.
Either one. Guests or hired under mysterious circumstances, or do you guys want to roll a die? Robbie, what do you think?
I think between those 2, I might go that we were hired to work on the island under mysterious
Okay.
circumstances.
Matthew, what do you think?
Yeah, I would go with the hired to work here under mysterious circumstances. You know what? Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go with that.
All right, sounds like a winner. We were hired to work here under mysterious circumstances.
I mean,
Okay, a
not
lot of
kid, of
questions come from
course.
that. Yeah, we'll figure out how the kid works in.
Okay.
A lot of questions immediately come to mind, but let's move on before we try to answer other questions. Let's go with that, and then we move into the next part. Who are you? Choose a hero play sheet. So everybody's chosen one of those. Follow the instructions on your play sheet to create your hero. There's not a lot to do, but you just kind of go step by step. On the left side of your playbook, it has a 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of step-by-step procedure. So go through that. Of course, ask any questions if you have any. It says don't get caught up in it. We'll learn more about each other during the game. That's very true. The game is designed in a way to allow your character to get fleshed out as we play. So you really just need a rough outline of who you are, as we go. The first thing is to pick your stats. You've got 3 stats in this game: clever, fit, and steady. They are pretty much what they sound like. Clever, fit, and steady, and you get a +2, a +1, and a -1. If you look at your playbook moves, it'll probably give you a strong hint of which one would probably be a good fit for you. Like the soldier, I think they probably suggest what? Fit? No, they actually suggest steady for the soldier. Clever for the paleontologist, that makes sense. And they don't give a suggestion for the kid. In fact, the kid doesn't have a. The kid's different. The kid doesn't have the +2. It only has a +1, two +1s and a -1.
Oh,
I
interesting.
guess. Yeah, kid's not as well developed, I guess. So you sign your stats, scribble down a name, pronouns. The kid, you have to choose your age. I don't think it has any mechanical effect, but just flavor.
We're just doing this on
And
paper,
then
right?
yeah, you can do it. You can do it on paper. What
Yep.
I would like you to do, if you when you get a moment, probably some of you guys are doing it already, is just get it onto one of the character handouts. So I see someone's chosen Alex Morales. That sounds like you, Matthew. Regina is Kyle, and Robbie can be either player 1 or player 4. And once you start to scribble down and make your decisions, copy it onto your character sheet in Roll20. That's pretty much just for me to be able to access it quickly. Jules, Alex Morales, and Regina. And like most PBTA games, you get a list of choices about your personality and your look. Of course, you can always just fill in your own. Let me know when you feel comfortable with your character. How old is Jules? Do you know that yet, Robbie?
Yeah, 13.
Okay. Anyone have any questions? Does everybody feel like they're done? Anybody feel like they're done?
Sorry, just finalizing the stuff.
Okay.
Rumor stories I've told. Okay.
I'll take. Yeah, we'll do that next. Yeah.
Yeah, in action. Yeah, got it. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Kyle, Robbie, you guys ready? Thumbs up. Okay. Okay. So let's go around the
Verbal
table.
thumbs up.
Okay. Uh, let's go around the table and just give us a quick, like I said, just a quick sketch of your character, who they are, their pronouns, what they look like, kind of their personality. I don't know if you have any ideas about like what their role is in this mysterious organization. Or, we can start to kind of piece together some story that way. But if not, don't worry about it. We'll get it soon enough. So, Kyle, tell us what you got on Regina.
So Regina is the soldier playbook, and yeah, it's fairly obvious that she has some kind of like formal military training, but she's a little cagey about exactly how she got it. Um, doesn't like hasn't talked about her past much, at least so far. Does seem very excited to be like going off to this mystery island. Like, hey, if someone on this mystery island is calling in a soldier, not a bodyguard, that's something interesting is going to be going to happen.
Okay. We have a picture of her, so we got a pretty good feel. I think you describe her as wiry in your write up, kind of aggro. All right, that sounds good. That's a good start for her. Robbie, tell us about Jules.
All right, so Jules is 13. Very he uses he him pronouns. Um, very curious, and um, I think you get a sense that okay, he's 13, but he's very kind of intellectually precocious. Has kind of I think the kind of kid that has loves to read, and adults would sometimes be surprised. Like reads adventure, likes adventure, and is definitely I think like social media savvy. But he also like reads like Jules Verne and H.G. Wells and things of that sort as well. And so if we have a job, I think some people be kind of curious what is a 13-year-old kid doing there, but maybe it's a job where because of his precociousness that maybe he has something going on, right? That can contribute.
Okay, like he actually was brought in by this mysterious organization to do a
Yes.
job of some sort. Okay.
Or at least maybe
Um,
people would suspect, yeah, that they have some insight into him.
okay. And under your gear, that one of the things is toy dinosaur. Maybe you want to replace that with like a book, like War of the Worlds or something.
Yeah, or maybe he's carrying uh uh Jules Verne wrote Mysterious Island, so maybe which is one of the Captain Nemo stories. So maybe he has the novel Mysterious Island uh, that he's carrying with him.
Okay, cool. All right, and then let's talk about Alex Morales. Matthew, tell us about
All right, so
Alex.
Alex Morales is fresh from her education in paleontology. The way I've conceived of the character is that this is someone who pursued a life in academia in order to avoid, you know, in order to avoid like the real world, or at least like the way she's positioned her career is hopefully do a minimum of field work, right? And so for that reason alone, like even though she's smart, and even though she's young and and fit, she's not really all there. She's kind of a scatterbrain, and I think going to this island is definitely not something she wanted to do.
Pause there, Matthew. You might have to close down your video again. You're breaking up a lot. Even your video is jumping around too.
Yep.
So did you say she is precocious, or I'm
Yeah, I
sorry,
just
not
wanted to
precocious?
test it. Yeah, I just wanted to test it to see.
Didn't get that. Try again.
All right, let me repeat.
Okay.
Yeah. Morales is a paleontologist. She graduated, or at least she got her master's uh, recently, and she pursued a life of academics, and in a hopes. I have it in my mind.
Lost you completely now. I'm sensing a dropout here in a second. Let me go on to the next part while Matthew gets sorted. Um, each of you will get a rumor. This is something that you've heard about the island. It may or may not be true. We'll find out. Let me see. I have a list I choose from. Regina. You heard that no human had set foot on the island before last year. So on your character sheet, if you just scribble that under rumor, no human, or what was it again? No human had set foot on the island before last year. And tell me who or how you were told this rumor. How do they say it here?
I think I heard this rumor because I have a few buddies who do like corporate security stuff, and there are, probably a handful of islands out there that are basically uninhabited and just used for whenever someone wants to do something under extreme security. And just heard the rumor that, yeah, this island was completely unoccupied until last year.
Okay. All right. And Jules, you heard. You heard. You have a friend or family member who went to the island but never came back. Who was this person?
Um, this was um, make it my aunt um, aunt uh, Aunt Maggie, um, and she why don't we say that Maggie was in the Navy, um, and was like she was like a naval captain who um, captained some type of I don't know, some type of uh, sea, a kind of I don't know my naval boats, kind of like maybe a kind of uh, very swift kind of destroyer that would have been used by kind of SEALs for kind of like those types of operations. But yeah, that I don't know the exact circumstances, but I know that she was kind of sent on a some type of naval mission to this, you know, part of the ocean, and just kind of disappeared, and uh, kind of mysteriously, not much forthcoming in terms of the exact information of the circumstances of that disappearance.
Right. Okay, that sounds cool. Okay, Matthew, welcome back. Looks like
Yeah, I am so sorry for all the technical apologies. I've switched to a completely different device. I don't know if that's going to be enough of a variable, but I think I'll get better results because there's a newer piece of tech than the other thing. Yeah,
yeah, you
so
look. Go ahead and tell us about your. By the way, you look good now. You sound good, so it does seem better.
all right, let's get right to it.
I mean, you already looked good, but the tech looks better. So, guys,
Mm-hmm.
tell us about your character.
All right, so I am playing Alex Morales. I conceived her as a paleontologist who has tried to avoid field work, who was hoping for a life of just books and theory and maybe and a bare minimum of like physical uh, sort of like um, well, physical obstacles or whatever like that. Words are failing me in that regard. Yeah, and she's kind of a scatterbrained individual, someone who's fresh out of paleontology school or whatever you call it. Um, but I gather like what I have in mind is that due to having distinguished herself well in paleontology, it's kind of backfired on her, and that is probably why she has ended up being invited to this island. In fact, I kind of have it in mind that maybe if Kyle is okay with this, maybe someone, whoever, are, as we build this island or we build the circumstances that we're in here, maybe like the presence of Kyle's character, Regina, is sort of like some kind of assurance to Alex that no, 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 you'll be safe.
Right, right.
That
Yeah.
sounds
All
good.
right. And what I was doing with the other guys while you were getting back on is that you each get a rumor that you've heard about the island.
Okay.
And Regina got no human had set foot on the island before last year.
Hmm.
Jules got his aunt or a friend or family member went to the island but never came back. And it turned out that that was his aunt Maggie, who was a Navy captain who sort of commanded sort of like a special operations team transport that went missing. And what I'm going to give you is the Natural History Museum has a new exhibit opening soon that is so secret, even most of the curators don't know what it is.
Ooh.
And how did you hear about this? How are you involved in this rumor?
Um, the Natural History Museum has an exhibit coming out, but the curators don't know about it. I would say that maybe whatever's in this exhibit, uh, I know about it through a mentor figure who is like, tell me if this is okay, whose speculations about dinosaur taxonomy and evolution are largely regarded as cryptozoology.
Okay.
There are like they talk about this guy, like Sal, which is there's dinosaurs and then there's like what you're talking about is like Bigfoot,
Right.
yeah, or the Loch Ness monster even.
Okay. So let me bounce this out because this kind of goes off the script, but I think it's a good moment to kind of we've got enough pieces to maybe ask this question. Who has ideas how the three of you have gotten tied together to go to this mysterious island? Anybody have any ideas how the three of you have come together for this mission? And I guess let me make it more specific. How did this boy get caught? How did this 13-year-old boy? I know Robbie was saying something, but maybe Robbie, having heard what the others have said, to their rumors, can you flesh it out a little better? How did you end up coming with this soldier and this junior novice paleontologist? Or pass if you got nothing. That's okay too.
No, no, no. I mean, I wonder. I mean, it could have something to do with my aunt's disappearance. Um, that I don't know. Maybe um, maybe there's another group, not the Navy, but some other group that kind of is um, kind of figuring out that something mysterious has happened and that the government is trying to keep it hush hush, but they're trying to kind of blow the lid off of what exactly has happened.
Is
And
this Monarch?
hmm?
Is this Monarch? Is this like like the Godzilla organization? You remember you've seen some of the recent like MonsterVerse movies, right?
Long time ago, but what is that? Just some sort of secret like monster organization?
Yeah, they're like, oh, we have known about Godzilla or Mothra or whatever for a very long time. Like
Right.
the American Spook X Files inspired division of like, oh yeah, we know Godzilla,
Well,
Yeah.
and maybe that's similar to what the organization you have in mind. They're like,
what do you guys think of this, or maybe build off of this, or throw it away, whatever? What if this crypto paleontologist mentor of yours, Matthew, has financed this trip? Maybe he's heard
oh,
rumors and he believes in this dinosaur rumor. So maybe he's rich and he or she has funded this op mission. And Kyle's character is along because a bunch of Navy SEALs disappeared, so apparently it's pretty dangerous. And maybe Robbie's along because maybe your aunt texted you a map or something, or like coordinates, or like special, like you got to turn left at the reef and turn right here. Maybe you've got some special information, mysteriously that came to you from your missing aunt.
Hmm.
How does that work for all you guys? Or what else do you want to add on that?
I think I think I like what you suggested, Jason, because it's I do love the allure of a guy who's sort of like a senior paleontologist who is also fabulously wealthy, who is also like like it's just all this crazy like stuff smushed into one, and I think that's cool.
Okay. And he's
Yeah,
probably eccentric AF, like he's
yeah, eccentric as fuck.
right. Um, okay. And Kyle, does that work for you? Your soldiers, this is clearly something dangerous. So you've been hired there because you're a fighter. And Robbie, you've got that information. Um, do you think this eccentric paleontologist just said, "Oh, this kid knows it. Let's send this kid," or did you kind of have to like manipulate your way onto the trip?
I think I would have manipulated my way into the trip. I even think that maybe, uh, you know, my aunt lived. Her house was close to my house, and when I found out about this, I actually kind of broke into her house before other people could get there, and I downloaded some files and things like that, and kind of used that to my advantage to kind of let this cryptozoologist know that I actually had some goods, and I was kind of interested in what was going on with the island, and convinced him that or her that the I would release some of this information, but the price would be to let me get in on some expedition to the island.
Right. Okay. Matthew, what's the name of this eccentric crypto paleontologist?
I'm going with let's see.
And I have a list
We'll
of.
go.
Go ahead.
I'll go with Salvatore Choi. So Korean surname.
Okay. Great.
Yeah,
And Salvador, what pronouns does he or they use?
he him.
Him. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Salvatore Choi, our eccentric crypto paleontologist.
Up to you if he's Latino or Korean
Sure.
or both.
Sure. Um, Kyle, let me ask you this. Where about in the world do you think this island is? Where have you traveled to? Doesn't have to be
Uh,
specific, but whereabouts?
hmm. Somewhere middle of the Atlantic, I'd say. I don't know, pretty far away from any of the mainlands. Just
Oh, sure. Okay. And Matthew, let me ask you this. Why is it that no one else until the last year or so has found this island? Why, as far as this crypto paleontologist told you, what has kept this island secret? Or why hasn't it been discovered before?
Trying to think of the logistics about that because surely not being on any maps wouldn't stop a satellite. So maybe that's the mystery. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's some kind of electromagnetic interference that's obscuring it from uh, electronic surveillance.
Sure.
Yeah.
And again, it might tie in. We know no one's been here in, prior to the last year. How about Maggie, the Navy? Is it the U.S. Navy, you think, Robbie, or some other nation? You said
Yeah, I
the
think
SEALs, part of the
yeah, the
U.S.
U.S. Navy. Yeah.
Okay, so the Navy, sent in, a satellite, they sent a satellite message back to headquarters saying, we're picking up some bizarre magnetic interference at these coordinates, and then maybe some other, mysterious messages, and then disappeared. And then somehow this got into the hands of Salvador Choi, and over a period of time, he found you guys, or you found him, and went from there. There's still probably some question marks, but is that a good kind of base bedrock to our story? Does that work for everybody? Anything else you want to add before we move to the next thing? Okay. Great. I scribbled down a lot of that. I'll add it online here later. Let's go to our next thing on the situation. Okay. The assumption in this game, this next part, is that you have arrived at the island now, and you've been here for a short period of time. So imagine that's our setup for this next part. So we have part 2, the arrival. On the island, you quickly encountered your first dinosaur. I'm going to go around the table and ask, we got 4 questions here. Let's start with the top. Robbie, I'm going to pick on you. Describe the situation. Where were you, and what kind of dinosaur was it? And as a reminder, we have 2 handouts, Dinos 1 and Dinos 2, if you're looking for a dinosaur to pick from.
I think why don't we just I think this was right when we were on the beach, where the beach, then kind of goes into some underbrush, and we I think it was a new hatchling. I mean, that we I had kind of caught out of the corner of my eye something kind of that was kind of moving up there, and we saw, this dinosaur coming out of an egg. And I think it was hard for us to really pin down exactly because it was so young. But I don't know, maybe I'm looking at the something like the Zool, like one of these like squat dinosaurs with a kind of uh, it looked like, had a tail to it.
Right. Okay, that's good.
Like a dogosaur.
And Dr. I forgot your character's name, Dr. Morales. Dr. Morales, obviously there must have been some sort of scratchy video on the material that Jules provided that either showed a dinosaur, that's why they sent you along, or that's why your benefactor was interested in this island. So when, for the next question for you, how did you feel when you saw a real living dinosaur?
I would say Alex felt terrified. The idea that the natural, well, quote unquote, the natural order of evolution as she understands it is sort of like flipped on its head now.
Sure. And Regina, what is your personal worst case scenario? So on this mission, what's your worst case scenario?
Something ruins her reputation enough that she can't she can't get more gigs like this. That bothers her more than dying.
Sure. Okay. And coming around back to Jules, what I don't know, what was one oddly familiar thing about the dinosaur?
Um, I think I think that I actually um, prior to leaving, I think I had actually seen a picture of this kind of dinosaur. I mean, not just this kind of dinosaur, but a young, newly hatched dinosaur that I came across on some kind of obscure website that I think I could recall that, oh my goodness, right? Just like something that I had seen just shortly before when kind of scouring the internet.
So, beyond belief, hard to believe that you just coincidentally would have just been looking at this.
Yeah.
Maybe on the boat on coming onto shore or something, you were piecing through a book of dinosaurs and that was the one you were looking at. And here it is. Okay, that sounds cool and it's mysterious. I know I wanted to get through this stuff first before our break, but let's take a break because we've been going a while. Let's take 10 minutes. We'll come back. We'll finish up the session zero stuff, play as much as we can, and go from there. Okay. So let's take 10 minutes. It's 9:30 on my clock. Whatever it is on yours, add 10 and be back then. Okay.
Okay.
See you then.
All right.
Oh, lost me. Lost them again. Playing any other games this month, Kyle?
I'm in a Passions de la Pasiones game over the weekend. We're all playing kids in that one, so that'll be an interesting. Hey, kitty. Change.
Yeah. Is is Jamie having problems too with the internet, Matthew?
Amazingly, no, but that's because she's on the primary desktop.
Ah. You guys flip the coin for that, or?
Did yeah, we split the coin for it. The gaming rig. Yeah. We might have to buy another one, actually, given how much time we're spending from home now.
Yeah. I hear you. In the Philippines, are you guys locked down, or are you allowed to move about, or?
We're locked down. We're locked down.
Yeah.
I mean, we can move around, but we need these things called quarantine passes, and yeah. Thankfully, they won't let you into establishments without face masks and face shields. So at least that there's no, like, people will still try to be a little douchey about going out or whatever, but there's no like, oh, my mask, no mask, my freedoms, or all that stuff. Hello, kitty.
Yeah. I think that's a particular eccentricity of the Americans, the desire to kill themselves and everyone around them just for in the name of freedom. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's pick up where we left off. Next up, Matthew, Dr. Morales. The next thing is, so you came onto you came off. I'm picturing. Let's back up a minute. I'll give this to you, Matthew, since your benefactor, your mentor, is the one that's kind of bankrolling this operation. How did you guys get here? How did you get into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean from whatever?
Yeah. So Robbie established. I think it was Robbie established. Our first encounter with a dinosaur was on a beach. So, that tells me it ain't. That tells me we came in by ocean.
Yeah.
And I'd say maybe we had to book like I don't want to play into any Orientalist tropes here, but like maybe we had to like really book passage through someone who would not want someone who would be more than willing to get to ferry people like us to another place for American dollar.
Okay, so there's some sort of smuggler that's delivered you to this island with a grease palm, and I imagine the three of you have come in on sort of like one of those blown up boats. I think they're called Zodiacs. Those little boats that go onto shore. The little power, with a little power engine. Is that smuggler still sitting offshore waiting for you guys, or are you left to your own devices at this point?
I think he's waiting. He's waiting because let's say our arrangement with him is like let's say you get X thousand bucks to bring us here, but like the total money that he gets when we go back is triple that. So definitely it's and also because we get to have an interesting NPC somehow involved or not. And going back to that thing I mentioned about quote unquote not playing into Orientalist tropes, I think you can be he or she can be of any ethnicity or gender really at this point. I mean, it's a free market.
Sure. Okay, we'll flesh that person out, when the time comes. But for now, that's
Yeah.
good. All right. So back to our the arrival. So the next part is soon afterwards, something went wrong. What was your first hint that something was off? Something went wrong. What was your first hint that something was off?
Just to me, to Kyle, or to everyone?
That's to you. That's to you, Matthew.
Oh, all right. My first hint that something was off is that the climate is wrong. I would say that maybe the temperature for the ambient temperature of the island is maybe a few degrees upper or lower than it should be, not just for humans. I mean, temperature variances exist around the globe, but even for dinosaurs.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So
I'm tossing that.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm tossing that to you as a seed. So maybe it plays or does not play a role into why the island has been revealed or why the dinosaurs may or may not be more temperamental.
Okay. So it's either
Oh,
too
this
hot
kitty's so
or it's
cute.
too cold. Kyle, the next one's for you. Who did you instinctively look to and why? So when you guys realize, let's say it was pretty dramatic. It's too cold here. It's the mid-Atlantic,
Mm-hmm.
which is a stormy, cold place. And there's jungle fauna, but the temperature is not right. So who did you look to when you saw this and why?
I probably looked at the paleontologists. Like, is this are they trying to model some Jurassic or Cretaceous conditions? Is this what the environment was like back then? I'm not a or not any kind of paleontologist or historian. I don't know that stuff.
Right. And Jules, what's your personal worst case scenario? I asked that out of order last. I asked that to. Let me go back because I know that I asked that out of order and Kyle answered that. Let me get the one that I skipped, which I think was what was one uncanny thing. So there you are. You're down, maybe cuddling this little Zool dinosaur. What's uncanny about
Is this for me?
it? Yeah, that's for you.
Okay, so that little baby dinosaur, what's uncanny about it? Okay, and we've established that it's a little cold.
Yeah, it's way too cold for the jungle island, or for as far as you know for dinosaurs.
All right, so what? Well, okay, so what's uncanny about the dinosaur is I touched it expecting it would be cold, but it wasn't. I mean, it seemed like it was. I mean, it wasn't fuzzy like that cat, but it seemed like it was warm blooded, and I wasn't expecting. I mean, dinosaurs aren't warm blooded, are they? I mean, I thought they were more reptilian, but it seemed to be, even though it was certainly reptilian in terms of look and the skin, that it actually seemed to be generating heat.
Right. Okay. That's cool. Coming back around, Matthew, if you're ready, what made you realize you were in serious trouble?
Whew. We're in serious trouble. I'd say I don't know where you want to take the chaos level into this game, in this campaign, like starting off, but
Go for it.
let's say there's already a lot of trails across the surface of the island. So we're already seeing like aggressive or at least highly active dinosaur tracks. Like if you look at these tracks and they were humans, you'd think, oh God, these guys are going to war or something. That's That's what you'd say. But what it is, it just means that their migratory patterns or their herding patterns and feeding patterns are just like they're crazy.
Okay. So there's trails, but they don't follow any logic, or they're confused and chaotic. Is that
Yeah,
where you're going? Okay.
that's where I'm going.
Dinosaurs are moving about chaotically. Okay. All right. Moving on. Section 3, right now. Where are you? Players, choose one together or roll, and we'll mark it on the map. So, like I said, this is for all of you guys together. I'll give, I think, Kyle, you'll get first shot at this, but you other guys can put in your input. Kyle, do you want to roll a d6 for where you guys are right now, or do you want to pick one from that list? You're muted.
Sorry, I kind of like the idea of hastily abandoned dormitories. Like we're at, whatever the human base camp was here, and things will just get progressively less human infrastructure-y as we
Okay.
go in,
Okay.
or what have you.
So maybe just off the beach, maybe you guys come across some sort of dormitories. Does that work for you other guys, Robbie, Matthew?
Sorry.
Are
Yeah.
are they maybe to tie it in with what we established? Could it be like tents, like SEAL team tents, or is it something else? Back to you, Kyle, on that one.
Uh, sure, yeah. I imagine things are. Oh, tents.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, I kind of like the idea that they somehow like assembled like proper buildings and dormitories just really fast and like you know implausibly fast, given how recently the island had people on it.
Okay.
Can we make the dormitories sort of like more paramilitary in nature, Kyle? How about we make them like a barracks instead?
Sounds great.
I kind of like the idea of making this sort of hint at the idea that any man-made structures on the Dino Island are more akin to a doom facility. Oh yeah, we're experimenting with dinosaurs. Also, we had heavily armed dudes here just in case the portal to Dino Hell opened.
Sure. Okay.
Sounds good.
So there's these barracks. Great. So let's switch over to our map. And
I will, however, oppose any idea that the kid has guns. So let's just put that as a line, right? Let's not let the kid pick
yeah,
up a gun.
you guys all have you start with equipment, and I think the only one with the gun is the soldier.
Yeah, yeah.
Kyle, so on this screen, there's this color picture here, this little token. Drag that to where you are. I think the the barracks is just off the beach somewhere. Where do you think you guys are starting? Right about there?
Here for no particular reason.
Works great. And I put a little building there to represent that. And let me just, in case we forget later what that building might be, I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit of a text. We'll call this a paramilitary barracks. Okay. You know one way off this island, though there might be more. What is it? That's for you, Jules. And this again, choose one or you can roll.
Let's because there's like all sorts of interference around the island. But I'm thinking about the first one, call for rescue at the radio station. I mean, maybe we've been tipped off that there's like a radio station on the island that was established precisely because it could kind of both because of location as well as how the interference patterns were working, we could actually get a signal off this island.
It's able to cut through that electromagnetic interference that we talked about. Okay.
Yes.
Able to cut through the interference. Maybe one of the strange messages that were sent back by your aunt said something about we're trying to make our way to the station, hoping that it can cut through the interference. Something like
Right,
that.
and then it may have to do with the kind of special equipment that's there as well. That they have some kind of like high tech equipment that will be able to kind of get the message out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so then we're close to the end now. Oh, we put that on the map too. All right. Jules, let me get the radio tower. Here it is. Oops, 1 second. Here we go. I got the radio tower now sitting beside your token for your party. Drag that radio tower to where you think it might be.
I think. See.
Just click on it. You can drag it around. Click and hold down like that. Click and hold your mouse down, and then you can drag it around.
I am. I'm having trouble, but why don't we put it up at this point up here?
Okay. Okay. So maybe there's like a cliff or something over there, and the radio tower is up high. All right. And then I have to choose another. We go on. Why can't we just leave? These two answers, I choose one, and you guys choose the other, which are what we call the obstacles. And as you move through the game, once you kind of overcome one of the obstacles, then you'll get your upgrade, and also the plot will move into the next act, so to speak. So I choose one, and then you guys choose the other. So while I'm looking at the first list of 6, I choose one, and you guys are going to choose one of the other from the second group of 6. So why don't you talk amongst yourselves, figure out which one of those 6 you want to have. This is your obstacle, and I will try to sort out which one I'm going to choose.
I mean, for us, one possibility would be that what's the source of the strange broadcast overpowering our signals?
That would work. I'm also kind of interested in like where our contact is.
Yeah.
That there was somebody who is supposed to have met us. I mean, would this be a contact that was supposed to meet us on the island?
I mean, we were hired by someone. I kind of figured we would, we're meant to meet up with someone on the island who would tell us what we were hired for.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we know that you guys were hired by Matthew's mentor, Salvador Choi, an eccentric crypto paleontologist. And I have a similar question, though, because I think my sense is, and maybe you guys can fill me in more on what your feelings are, because what kind of like, what's your goal? What's each of your character's goal? So I have a feeling that Jules is here to try to find his aunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Matthew's character, Alex Morales, is here because she's been sent by her mentor to check this out. And I guess the question for you, Matthew, is does your mentor want you just to kind of like feel it out, or is there something in particular you're supposed to get or do here?
Okay,
I think
so
your mentor kind of knows that there's dinosaurs there, like from what he learned from Jules and his own crazy theories. He knows that there's dinosaurs there, so that much we know. But what do you think he wants you to do?
actually, my understanding was that Salvador was involved in the curation of this exhibit that is yet to be revealed, and so I didn't realize that it was being established that he would have sent us there. Because the impression I had in my head, and correct me if I'm wrong, so I'm very flexible about this, was that he might be on the island himself. If only because I just feel like
Okay,
an NPC that intriguing would be on the island in some capacity. He doesn't have to be Dr. Richard Moreau or anything like that, but
okay.
or Sir David Attenborough's character, whatever his name was, like on the island. But and so for me, in direct answer to your question, with that aside, my personal motivation or Alex's personal motivation is more like, well, she's learned about these things like um, the disruption of the evolution pattern, temperatures, all of this stuff. Like it's almost like there's an aspect of dinosaur lore that is coming to light that defies her understanding, and so therefore she is both terrified but intrigued. Sort of like it's like odium. There's a sense of disgust and revulsion, but also compelled to learn more.
Okay, I was under a different assumption, but I like what you were thinking actually, and that gets back to what Kyle was asking, like to meet our contact. Maybe
Yeah,
let's say Salvatore Choi is there, so
yeah.
he kind of putting this in line then. So Robbie's aunt went missing, sent some weird signals to Jules. So Jules somehow got in contact with Salvatore Choi, and Salvatore Choi is like, "This is
I
very
found something.
interesting. This is
Yeah,
wonderful."
yeah.
And Jules is like, "I want to go," and he's like, well, "You're just a kid. You can't go now, but you can come. You can come with her." And he points over to Dr. Morales, and Dr. Morales is like rolling her eyes because she doesn't want to go there because she hates the field. And they go, and then you lose contact with them. So you pick up. I don't know. I don't know if maybe Kyle, your character had already been hired or whatnot, but um, the three of you book the passage with this sleazy smuggler and follow along. And you're looking for Salvatore Choi then, getting back to our list. Why didn't your contact meet you and where are they? Is that what you were thinking? Kyle, is that the one you were looking at?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. How's that all sound to you guys? Why? So maybe Salvatore Choi was supposed to meet you at these barracks and he's nowhere to be seen. Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, let me scribble that down. Salvatore Choi, already in the island, was supposed to meet us at the barracks, and no sign. Okay, and I selected mine. I'm going to keep that secret. There's a little bit of stuff I'm going to do. Like I said earlier, I was going to take a little bit of a longer time, but I know that we've been running late. So let me take 5 minutes. We'll take a 5 minute break. We'll come back and we will jump in and play until 11. Okay.
Okay.
So see you guys in 5. Hey, Robbie, one last thing. How's the weather here, you think? There's on this map in the bottom, towards the bottom left, there's a list of 6 different options. Any of those appeal to you? You want to roll a die?
Um,
We know it's colder here than it should be, or maybe it's just as cold. I mean, I think the middle of the Atlantic Ocean's pretty cold place regardless, right? But it's pretty cold here.
yeah. So let's. So it is cold. So that would take some of these off. Um, why don't we go with number 6? But adding that, that there are these lightning storms, but not necessarily accompanied by torrential downpours. So like sometimes there'll just be kind of these, maybe the sky clouds over, but it's not even necessarily raining, but there's all this kind of lightning activity that kind of can go on over this island.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
Matthew, I think I heard you. You back? We're all here.
Yep.
Okay, so we pick up uh, with you guys coming into this barracks area. So you've walked off, you landed on this little Zodiac, this little rubber boat. The smuggler ship is sort of in the distance, and you come in on these breaking waves, this cold water, this cold, probably like, you guys use Celsius or Fahrenheit in Philippines?
We use Celsius.
Okay.
We still don't
Well,
understand
you,
Fahrenheit.
you'll have to convert. Uh,
Oh
it,
no.
it's a it's a cool autumn day. It's not wintry, but it's cool, and it's 40 or 50 in our Fahrenheit terms. And like I said, not only is there this little dinosaur that kind of like saunters or waddles out onto the beach, and Jules kind of checks it out, and but the foliage is also tropical. It shouldn't be able to survive this foliage as little. And none of you are botanists, but as little as you understand, this doesn't match. This doesn't seem right. You progress off the beach, and you move into this jungle, this cold jungle, and down one of these. Maybe this is an obvious landing. Whoever has been here before, whether maybe it was Maggie, maybe it was Salvador Choi and his crew, they've moved through here, and you see a rough path that's been beaten down through the passage of human feet, leading off the shore into the jungle. And you come to these. They're probably like prefab, like walls and floors, prefabricated, with wood frames and insulated walls. Very rough, but they've clearly been brought in here or something, and they're thrown together into these. Let's say there's 3 barracks buildings. Each one is probably big enough to house a dozen people or so, probably. And there's um, there's the first thing that strikes you is that a lot of like boxes and maybe like barrels that were like held fuel or something have all been knocked over. There are bullet holes in a lot of the walls here. There's it's pretty gruesome, but there's body parts lying on the ground, like parts of bodies that look like they've been chewed off or ripped off of bodies. Some of them look like they've been gnawed on, but they're all old and moldering.
Hmm.
And it's quiet here. It's really quiet. Kyle, you're a soldier. What do you do when you see this?
Um, well, first things first, I guess I just, yeah, check the bodies, try to estimate, did they all die around the same time? And if so, like, can I ballpark when that was?
Sure, sure. And Robbie, what's Jules do when he sees this grisly sight? I mean, there's no actual blood. I mean, whatever happened, I'll tell you guys straight up, whatever happened here happened a while ago. But there's definitely
So
these
there's so bodies like torn,
like pieces
but
of
there's
bodies.
no.
Maybe a little bit of
But
torso here, maybe, you know, remember it's a PG-13 thing. So there's just these quick shots of maybe, like
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of they're not bloody and recent, but clearly pieces of human bodies spread about here.
Sorry, I don't mean to be difficult. It's just that I'm having
Sure,
a hard time visualizing it without blood. But I can accept maybe as we depict it, it's not gruesome, but in the internal reality of the world, this is death.
definitely.
Mm.
But Jules, 13-year-old Jules, what do you think when you see this?
I think Jules does a very quick scan to make sure that Aunt Maggie is not among the bodies. Just doing that visually, but then I think Jules kind of turns his back, hopefully not seeing any signs that Aunt Maggie is among the dead, but then kind of turns his back and kind of looks out into the jungle area.
Okay. And what about Dr. Morales?
I
What's
mean,
her
I
reaction?
honestly, Dr. Morales is already. She's losing her cool, definitely. Like, I mean, it's a hand over mouth kind of like shock at seeing, like anything more than one dead body is probably like way more than she ever expected to see in her lifetime, let alone one in such a gruesome display as this.
Right, definitely.
Are there any non-human bodies here?
Uh, let's take this to the dice, and we'll answer some of these questions. There is a safety move called Scavenge. When you and another hero take a quiet moment to search for useful items or information, tell a story and roll clever. So it sounds like Jules and Regina are both doing that. Dr. Morales is kind of just freaking. So it's kind of a group roll between the two of you guys. So when you do a group roll on a safety move, the person who has the best position or the highest relevant stat will roll. This stat uses clever. What do you guys have for clever, Kyle and Robbie?
I have a -1.
I have a +1.
Okay. So I think Jules will lead the way on this. Jules, when you do this move, sort of like in the process of, like, so we see Regina kind of like moving over and checking these bodies, and you're like scanning the jungle, and maybe you're keeping close to Regina, because she's got a gun, but you're telling a story while you look around. So on your character sheet, you have a list of stories, and tell us one of those stories that's on your sheet, and then mark it. These have an impact on your fate at the end of the game. The more of these you do, the better your fate's probably going to be.
So this is going to be the something cool a friend taught me, and it was like something cool about like keeping your cool with something that's really disturbing. And what my best friend told me is, just pretend that you're an actor in a movie, and right, you just kind of start thinking that, okay, I'm an actor and this is all just kind of a staged thing that you're seeing. And if you kind of get yourself in that kind of mindset that you're really just, in this kind of fictional world, uh, you can kind of get yourself through it. So, yeah, I'm kind of doing that now. I don't like what I'm seeing, but I'm just gonna pretend I'm a cool kid in some type of strange action movie, and we'll get through this.
Okay.
Meta and dissociative.
So mark that on your sheet that you've told that story, and roll 2d6 plus clever.
All right. And so the rolling, let me go.
If you just go to the widget in the upper left.
Right, and the 2d6.
2d6, yep. And you said you got +1?
Yeah, did it roll? Yeah, there it is.
Yes, you got a 5 and a 4.
I got a 9, so +1 will make it a 10.
Beautiful. So on a 10 plus, you find something useful, maybe even that thing you were hoping for. So what I think I'll do is we'll go back to the questions that each of you were kind of thinking about, but I'll give you a little extra too. Jules, you're looking around, you see this cold jungle, this thick jungle, and anything could be out there, right? It's that thick. It's if there was anything more than a foot or two inside this jungle, you wouldn't be able to see it. And then you have this sort of weird experience of seeing Dr. Morales from someone else's eyes. Someone behind her, somewhere back in the jungle, is looking at Dr. Morales, and they looking at her with hunger, the way you would look at a cupcake. And then you're back in your own consciousness. Kyle, you were asking. I'll tell you what you see, and then I think you had a question of what was your last question? I forgot. It was something about.
Are there any non-human bodies here?
Right. Yeah. So you get down and you're checking out these bodies, and you can see that they have. And you were seeing like were they? I think you also were asking like were they at like different times and things like that. And you're looking around for a few minutes. You see that actually you're right that there were several different fights here, because you can see like an old leg that's like rotted away, covered in maggots, stinking, and it's got this sort of we'll call it sort of like a gray uniform, like it's sort of a grayish military fatigues on this leg, grayish military fatigues. Let me make a note of that, grayish military fatigues. And then you find an arm that has a sort of black and white sort of camouflage that that the Navy SEALs use. And then you find sort of like a foot that has like, it's half ripped off, but you can see it has like civilian, boots on, expensive, very nice boots, but very civilian, not military at all. And they're in that, the grayish fatigues are clearly the oldest. The SEAL team body part is in the middle, and the khakis are the most recent. And just to make sure we're all on the same page, that's kind of like how we understand the timeline of this, that the SEAL team arrived and Robbie's character got all that information, and that led Salvatore Choi to send his expedition later. So, in terms of the timeline, I hope that makes some sense. But anyways, I mean, checking that out, and you don't find any body parts, but there are tons of old tracks here of a a some sort of dinosaur tracks, and they're about a little bit bigger than man-sized. Maybe a paleontologist might be able to tell you more. And then and then you, Robbie, let me give Robbie some info for what George was doing. What was your last question, Robbie? I forgot about what you might see. Or did you have a question?
Well, my question was whether Aunt Maggie was among the deceased.
Right.
Doing a quick kind of scan of that.
Right. Well, you hope that this body part wasn't hers. You don't think so. You don't see anything that clearly, would be her. I'll say too that you find one of these gray military fatigues, one of these older body parts. It has a patch. It's like an arm that has a patch on the shoulder, and it's a patch that you don't recognize. It's sort of what might it be? You know what? I'm gonna say you do recognize it. What would be a good symbol for a real powerful biogen pharmacological corporation? The the Weyland Yutani of this world. A real big, mysterious, multinational biogen kind of company.
Sorry, are you prompting us for a name for the company?
Yeah, name or what do you guys think it might be? The name of it, what the patch might look like.
How about a patch that looks like a DNA double helix, but the spirals also are kind of snakes, right? So it kind of has that look of like the DNA double helix, but it also has kind of that caduceus, right?
Yeah.
Snake type thing looking.
Okay.
I like that. I like that a lot because it's like, it's just they have a helix, but they must be evil because the helix is made out of snakes. And like the PR is like, no man, that's a caduceus. That's Hippocratic. That's we're on the up and up.
but the way they've stylized it is pretty menacing. Like it's you're right, but then they, for some reason, they decided to make it kind of menacing anyway. So
when they broke the credibility of it being like totally okay was when they added rattles at the tail end, and
right.
and the little like the fins, the neck fins, those things.
Right. Okay, so yeah, it's got this weird symbol on it, and you see it's on these buildings too. These buildings have this biogen company. Kyle, what's the name of this mysterious, somewhat sinister biogen company?
Cat
you don't
Corp?
got one. I do have it. What's that?
Cad Corp, like short for Caduceus Corp.
I love it. Cad Corp. All right.
Oh, okay.
So it has this symbol, this logo, and then it says Cad Corp, under it. Okay, so Dr. Morales, these guys have been spending a few minutes checking out this clearing, this brutal clearing. Have you pulled it together, and what do you do next?
I'd like to sort of like take a moment after I regain my composure to go with Kyle. I'm sorry, Regina to scavenge.
Sure.
Yeah. So I believe the scavenge move says something about telling a story as well. So
Yeah.
let me
Yep.
just reference that. Yeah. When you win another.
Let me hold on 1 minute. That sounds good. Maybe would it work for you to scavenge something different? Because I just don't want to like rehash over the same area. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Alternately, if you want to go where Regina is, she's kind of looking at these tracks. That might
Yeah.
that might trigger your playbook move.
Yeah, I can tell you were prompting me in a playbook move, and just so that we're sure that it's not overlapping. Instead of trying to scavenge to wait, did they find anything on them other than information and a lot of
No, just
illuminating
information.
exposition? All right,
Yeah.
so what I was hoping to do is to find tools, something practical or whatever. I have an idea of what kind of tool that could be, but it all depends on the role, and maybe you also have something more interesting to prod me along.
Okay. So how about
Yeah,
we say that you get your courage up and you go into one of these barracks?
yeah.
Okay. So
Uh,
and which for this move to work, it actually has to be two people. So who's going along with her into one of these barracks so she can tell a story?
mm, I'm good with either actually. At first I only wanted Regina, but I think I can work with Jules too actually.
Okay. Who do you think? You both see Morales start to like carefully move into one of these barracks. Do either one of you want to follow her in?
I'd probably keep watch outside.
Okay. So
Makes
that
sense.
sounds like Jules then. So Jules, is that okay if you follow Dr.
Yeah,
Morales?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
just tell me a little bit how you're looking around, and if you roll really well, what is it that you really? Well, we'll answer that if you get a good roll. So just tell me a little
Yeah.
bit what it looks like when you move in there. So it looks like I'll tell you straight up. It looks like a living quarters with like a
hmm
stove and like there's a propane tank and there's a sink and like a water heater and all that. It looks like a facility you actually could live in even in a cold environment like this. But everything's dusty. Clearly, nothing. No one's been here for a long time.
Mm. Yeah. So I would say that um, Morales is looking around for anything useful. And as she does this, with Jules and Tao, she sort of I don't know, the word is flustered. My vocabulary is failing me today. But definitely she's shaken, and she sort of tells Jules a story of how she doesn't understand people sometimes, the way they look, the way they jump into danger. Like man has evolved from mere animal to to something that seeks out safety and comfort and reliability. And sure, some people might argue that it's made them soft, but why is it a bad thing that we don't live lives of danger anymore? And she sort of relates how she had a brother who is kind of a thrill seeker, kind of imperils himself, and that's something that's always like that she has no empathy, no understanding of. That's the kind of thing that she talks to Jules about while she's sort of has her hands rifling through the shelves.
Okay. So go ahead and mark that story and roll
All right,
2d6 plus your clever.
all
I
right. I am
imagine.
accessing the 2d6. Let's see. That is a
So,
5 with a clever of 7 total.
all right, you saved yourself with that +2. Okay.
Yes, yes.
On a 7 and 9, you find something handy, but you make a lot of noise. You can pretend on dinosaurs. You can pretend no dinosaurs heard you if you want. So what do
I
you do that
pretend.
makes a lot? What do you do? Yeah, what do you do that makes a lot of noise, or what happens that causes a lot of noise to happen?
I think that when I see what it is that is useful, well, and again we're going to get to that in a hot second.
Mhm.
I reach for it and I sort of like knock something on its side, like maybe a couple of cans or like a mop or a rake or something that's sort of like, it's benign on its own, but when it lands on its, it makes a loud clanging or tappy noise, right? Like
Right.
I know from my personal experience, I can make a lot of noise in the apartment, but let the mop or the broom fall down and Jammy's awake.
So I think I'm gonna make it even more dramatic for our movie. Make it cinematic. So you
Ah,
you
cool,
hit
cool.
you hit this pail, and that goes clang, and it causes like the mop to fall over, and Jules jumps out of the way so so he doesn't get hit by the mop. He rams into the water heater that it's been it rusted out, the clamps or whatever that held it in place have rusted, so that goes in slow motion, it topples over and hits the ground, bursts, all
Oh,
of this fetid old water goes splashing around, and that's what makes a lot of noise.
yeah, no
um,
harm, but boy, is that noisy.
and what is it you find that's useful, you think? I can answer that
Um,
too, but what is it you would be want to find that you think would be realistic in this place?
um, my mind has it on alternating between like a lighter, because Lord knows when we're gonna need something to start a fire or melt something in this cold weather. And the other thing I had in mind was sort of like a climbing axe. Like, like one of those things, like I've never gone mountain climbing in my life, but one of those things that fold out and dig into the ice or something. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Take your pick then. I'll give either one of those sound good. In fact, you can have them both. You got a Zippo lighter,
Uh
and you
huh.
got a climbing axe, which is
Oh, nice.
weird to find in a tropical jungle just off of a beach. But there is this towering volcano at the far end of the island, right? So
Yeah.
maybe that's what that's about. So yeah, you can scribble that down on your character sheet: a Zippo lighter and a climbing axe. Um, Kyle, you hear this loud bang outside or inside, and Regina, that sound sort of seems to resonate, in this clearing. It dies down, and you hear this voice from sort of like up. You came from the beach, but like ahead of you, there's this sort of footpath goes on into the jungle, and from down that way, you hear someone say, "Help! Help! Help! Help!" What do you do?
Um,
Help!
yeah, I rush into head into the barracks, and I'm like, okay, everyone, we're gonna stay quiet, and we're gonna get into the woods, and we're getting away from like the noise you just made right now, because a few dozen people, highly trained professionals, heavily armed, all died with maybe not even either they didn't kill a single dinosaur or the dinosaurs are smart enough to drag away their own dead. And either way, we're not fighting them. We're moving quietly and we're, going to investigate that noise if it's easy. But first of all, we're getting out of trouble.
And so, Jules, you hear that too when the door opens. After he has this set of orders and warnings. You hear that. Help! Help! Sort of, down this path somewhere. Someone's yelling for help.
Yeah, so I think Jules will say, uh, "This, yeah, I agree. I mean, the noise is bad, but what do we do with that? Somebody sounds like they need us. I mean, don't you think we should go down and see what's going on?"
It's a trap, kid.
Um,
Animals mimic noises.
are you, I look at Virginia. Are you serious?
When you're screaming for help, you don't just say help over and over. Believe me, I know. I've heard a lot of
Hmm.
people beg for their lives, and they never said that.
That went dark.
Okay, so soldier,
I
go ahead. Go ahead, Matthew.
I don't know. I think Jules is right. We should go, investigate. I mean, I don't feel like there's anything else morally like we can do otherwise.
Hell,
I'd run over to the tracks, see if that leads to where the noise is coming from,
okay. So,
and I just sort of like I shoot a look at Regina, right? Like, I mean, she's probably right. She's smarter than me about this kind of stuff, but you know, it's like we're going, and you're either you're coming with us or not. That's the unfortunate truth.
okay. So Dr. Morales runs over to check these tracks, and it goes, that's towards the direction where, it's not. This sound is coming from outside the clearing, so Morales is still in the clearing, but definitely moving in that direction. In those moments, what do you other guys do?
Uh, well, I think my job is to stop her from getting herself killed, so I'm headed with her.
Sure. And you're
And
probably like,
yeah.
gun up, ready to go. All right. And Jules, what do you do?
Mhm.
Well, Jules, um, Jules does think that there's something strange about this voice. So I think while they're heading off, I think Jules is just going to stand there and really kind of, listen and see whether just by listening, whether, I mean, the big question is that an actual human voice, or is it a recording, or is it simply an imitation of a human voice?
Sure.
If we meet parrot dinosaurs, I swear to God.
Okay. I think we will. So I think in our movie, we get Dr. Morales, her perspective, and I keep saying her. Matthew, is her or is they? I can't remember what
It's her.
pronoun to
It's
use.
her.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we see from her perspective running up, and she gets down, and she checks out these footprints, and they are clearly I think I always get these confused. Is it sauropods or theropods? I think theropods are the meat-eating dinosaurs. It's clearly a theropod. You can tell by the three-toed, footprints, the large claw prints that you can spot here. It clearly is a bipedal dinosaur. I might be telling you more than I should, because I want you to make your dinosaur expert roll. So
Sure, sure.
off your sheet, you're going to roll plus clever when you draw on your knowledge to deal with a real life dinosaur.
All right. Rolling. Let's see here.
2d6 plus clever.
2d6 plus clever.
Oh, a miss. All right.
Don't sound too happy. Yeah, it's a 6.
Okay.
And I believe the miscondition is, dinosaurs are definitely way different from what you thought they were.
Right. It turns out living dinosaurs are different than you thought, for the worse.
For the worse. Emphasis on for the worse.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to think how to. I know what's going to happen. Just think how to frame it. So you kneel down, and you get your fingers in there, and you're digging around, and you realize you get a cold sweat because you realize these are the footprints of Deinonychus. And Deinonychus, like all dinosaurs, you only know so much about them, but you know that this is a killer. This is a killer, a pack hunter that, compared to other dinosaurs, must have been very intelligent. And
it's a parrot dinosaur.
Yeah, it's a paradinosaur. And
I mean,
you look up and you look up with a look of dread, of course, and coming out of the jungle kind of at different directions, and like the other two kind of turn from side to side, and you see probably about 8 of these Deinonychus. If you look at, if we go to our handouts, let's see, is it on Dino 1 or Dino 2? I think it's on Dino 1. It looks kind of like Dromaeosaurid,
mhm.
except it looks like the bad guys from Jurassic Park, basically.
Yeah, like yeah.
They don't have feathers, um, larger than human, very agile, and they're stalking out of the woods. And first one in the front of you, and then the others say help, help, in this imitation. They're parrot dinosaurs. They're parrot Deinonychus.
I mean,
Uh,
honestly, this is just really consistent with our setup of, yep, everything about dinosaurs we know is wrong, including Salvador Choi's like crazy stuff.
right. Um, the lady with the gun. I think it's time to decide what you want to do. Regina, what do you do when you see these 8 dinosaurs stalking out of the jungle slowly, like they know they have you?
I'm going to try to just talk the other two into just like slowly backing away with keeping our eyes on them, like not running, not making any furtive movements, just slowly backing
Okay.
away.
I think that sounds like not quite anything really. So I think the other. I'm sure the other two get behind you, and you're sort of like stepping backwards. The 3 of you kind of pacing back, and Jules, you look over your shoulder and you see, like I said, you're kind of surrounded. There's one coming back up the path that you guys came from the beach. So the way you're backing, like Regina doesn't see it, but you do. That there's one behind you too. You know that whatever she's trying to do is probably not going to work if these things mean trouble, and they sure look like they do.
Where are we in relation? Like, are we still kind of in that barracks area?
Yeah, the barracks are nearby.
So I think Jules whispers, backing up is backing in us into another one. I think we need to find some cover. And, Jules is kind of eyeing where the nearest barracks building would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I guess kind of taking the assessment would say, I think that one over, whether it be on the left or the right or wherever, I'd say, I think that maybe we should duck into that one.
Right. Is that what you guys are going to do?
Think so, yeah.
Okay, so this sounds like run for it is what you're going to need to do. When you start to move that direction and start to pick up your pace, they go from like stalking to charging at you. So when you do a group move, this is a peril move. When some or all of you act together, we use the one with the worst stat. So this is run. So this is roll plus fit. Who has the weakest fit?
I have a -1 on the fit, I think.
Anyone else have
Oh,
-1?
well,
You both do?
I got a flat one.
You have a +1? Okay. And I imagine, Kyle, you got at least +1?
Yeah, plus
Okay.
one.
Well, Robbie, you're the one making the roll, and you're the one facing the music. So roll
Makes
2d6,
sense.
2d6 plus stat.
Wait a minute, let me.
Oh boy. Um,
Oh dear. Oh.
um,
Oh.
okay.
I apologize for my laugh.
Yeah. Um, 1 minute. Let me check all my different spots for what kind of move we want to do here. Okay. So I think um, you Robbie, you're like you're in the back, and you're the one that kind of was like, we got to run, let's go, and you run that way, and the others two are right behind you. Probably Regina's bringing up the rear, and one of these Deinonychus has leapt up on top of this barracks, and as you run up this like I imagine these rickety uh, wooden stairs that go up into the doorway of this place, it jumps down and it knocks you down, and it slashes you all over, we'll say, your right arm, and you start bleeding really heavily, and it's about to bite into your throat maybe. And Kyle, how do you think defend? How do you defend Robbie, or what do you do to try to defend Robbie? I'll put it that way. And Robbie, I'm sorry, one more thing. Robbie, you are injured. In game terms, you have an injury now. And in this game, you can get one injury. It doesn't have any mechanical effect, but I can kind of like pull it back later to kind of like mess with you. So you have this heavy cut in your arm with a lot of blood loss. So that's kind of like what you're facing. If you get a second injury in this game, then you're either out of commission or you have to do a heroic sacrifice. So you pretty much have one hit point in this game, and then you're facing the music and make up a new character. But that's where
Yay.
you got an injury. So there's this Deinonychus that's has knocked down Jules and is looking to do a killing blow on him. You got other Deinonychus chasing you. Well, imagine, Dr. Morales has run up into this building that's kind of like at the doorway, ready to slam this door, and it's on you, Regina. What do you do?
I shoot it.
Sure. I think you have your class move, right?
Yeah, kill or be killed.
Right. So let's take a look at that. Let me find the right sheet. Here we go. When you open fire on a dinosaur or group of dinosaurs, roll plus steady. So go ahead and do that. Oh boy.
I'm got a miss.
All right. 3 plus 2. Yeah. What is your? That doesn't matter.
On a miss, I make a casualty move.
You get mauled and immediately make the casualty move. Don't miss. Oh my goodness, that's bad. All right. Kyle. The casualty move is in the bottom right of the basic moves. When you are grievously hurt or take an injury while already injured, you're in bad shape. Tell someone your darkest secret or unfulfilled hope, then choose one. In looking ahead, you're either going to get to do a final heroic act before you die, or you're out of commission. You're unable to do anything, but your character will survive if the others can get you off the island in time. So, first of all, maybe you have a brief thing. Well, which one do you think you're going to do? Do you want to be out of commission, or do you want to do a heroic act and die?
Heroic act and die.
Okay. So what dramatic little thing do you say? What do they say? Tell someone your darkest secret or unfulfilled hope.
I think I'm going to say something implying that I knew a lot more about what was going on here than I was letting on. Like, these are the things that kill me? I was hoping it would at least be a so and so.
Right. Okay. And what does it look like? You're going to save Jules, and you make it as cool and as heroic as you want. How do you go out?
I shoot the thing off of Jules, but like slows me down enough that I get injured and I can't keep up, and I just spray and pray and basically like hold back the rest of them long enough for Jules and Alex to get to safety.
Right. And Jules, you run in, and Dr. Morales slams the door, and it fades out on the gruesome end for our soldier. I think that's a good time to stop for today. Um, Kyle, let's take a minute. Well, you take a minute. I'm going to go do a very quick stars and wishes. I'm just, like I said, this we might not go more. I think we're probably on going 3 since we had some technical difficulties today, slowed us down. But I'm glad that we got some action scenes in here at the end. Sorry it went the way it did. I think this is the second time I've GM'd you in a game, Kyle, and I killed you both times. I'm sorry. Um, but you'll bounce back with a new character, and we'll integrate that character into our story real quickly next time. But just kind of look at the other playbooks before we leave today, and give me an idea of which one you think you want to go with. You can be another soldier if you want, or we lost Matthew.
Wait, so it was Kyle who died, not Jules.
No, it was Kyle. Yeah.
Yeah, I missed a roll and it immediately killed me.
Yeah.
And were you the one who confessed that it was one of these, like that you knew more than you were letting on?
Yes.
All right, it was you. My wires got crossed in the moment that I got dropped out of the call.
Right. And I was thinking the same kind of thing with you, Kyle. I thought maybe you have a dark past or a dark secret, and we get a hint of that. Okay, so anyways, Kyle, figure out which one you want to play. Let me know now, or let me know, during the week, which one you think, and maybe we can talk on the hangout and kind of like flesh out a story that fits in. But or if not, we'll take a few minutes at the beginning of next session. But anyways, let's go around and do a little bit of stars and wishes. A star is just a highlight, something that you thought was neat and cool that you want to put a star on, whether it was something that in the game, something that happened, something that a player did, a character, whatever it might be. And then a wish is just something that you would like to see more of, something you'd like to see less of, something you'd like to see done differently. A plot line, it can be pretty much anything, right? So you can do both at the same time if you want, or you can do one and we'll come back for the other, or you can pass if you've got nothing. So we're leaving Kyle thinking about his next character. So Robbie, let me pick on you. Give me a star or a wish.
I mean, I enjoyed the session a lot. I mean, I like the setup and the kind of mysterious fragments of the backstory that everybody was contributing, and I mean, I mean, the way that the roles worked out. I mean, I think it actually makes for a kind of interesting. I'm thinking like, well, if this is a movie that like the audience would be like, oh my goodness, right? It got kind of grim really fast. Like, where is it going to go from there? But I think that's also a lot of fun. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing like where after that initial encounter, it's like, oh, and we clearly have an island that's filled with these dinosaurs. Like where exactly is that gonna go? But yeah, I think it's a good setup that we have, and I think that opening encounter kind of makes it suitably right. Kind of amps up the stakes and the drama of it.
Yeah, it felt kind of like a cold start, like where at the beginning of a movie, like you think like the story's starting and it introduces this character, and then that character just gets killed off, and then the real character comes in.
And it's a child of all things, right?
Well, the
That's
child didn't die. It was the soldier that died.
sorry. My brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
The soldier.
Matthew, do you got any stars or wishes for us?
Before I get into the stars and wishes, which I have ideas for, like, I just want to say, can we just agree that the soldier was played by a name actor, a name actress, and people are like, oh yeah, she's gonna be the lead in the
Right.
movie, and it's
And
like,
it was probably Sean Ben, right? Like that's kind of a joke. Like he always gets killed. Yeah.
I'll look around on the internet for who is the female Sean Bean.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
female. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Got any ideas, Kyle? Who do you think played your? You do have a picture. I'm thinking it kind of looks like what's her name? Beckinsale, Kate Beckinsale. Do you know who she is from Underworld? I think is her big movie.
I'm terrible with names, so
Okay, that's fine.
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
As you can tell by now, I'm pretty much a bit of a movie nerd there. But yeah, so stars and wishes, like I think definitely the highlight of this session has been like it's early goings, right? So I think the way we plan or work together to put all the seeds together, not to like congratulate ourselves in the back, but I think it's a very intriguing stuff, like set of stuff. Like it's just different enough from the Jurassic Park mold to set itself apart and still be familiar, but also like I just like all the interesting genre pulls that are available to us as the story
Mhm.
unfolds, and also thank you for validating me on parrot dinosaurs.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're evolved from birds, so but let's having a little fun with it is nice. I also I think I want to say I think I'm really intrigued by how Robbie is playing his kid character. I definitely think it's one of the most interesting takes on the child archetype in a game like this that I have seen. So I think that's very cool, and I'm glad like the shenanigans have been uh, very lethal. I think it's making me a fan of the genre, at least as far as this game in specific is concerned. And also lastly, thank you, Kyle, for willing to play ball with me in game and be game for all my random ass suggestions.
Yeah. I'll say stars. I agree. I think um, I'll pat myself on the back a little bit because I know my tendency is always I want to like answer all the questions, completely and have all the pieces fit together. But I made myself not do that initially. Wishes wise, I do feel like I'm the one that kind of like, hey, why don't we tie it all together like this? And I hope it's okay what I suggested, and I do feel like it did tie it together nicely. And I do like because there was like a lot of cool ideas that you guys were all bouncing around, and I'm like, hey, well, what if we tie it together like this? I hope you guys are all comfortable with it. I hope it wasn't getting beyond my bounds because I do want to go into this. Like I said, my tendency as a game master is to want to like dot all the I's, cross all the T's, beforehand even. But going into a PBTA game like this, that's just blank slate, I want it to be play to find what happens, play to find out what happens, which is the theory, but in practice I sometimes have trouble following through. So you guys keep me honest if you feel like I'm like jumping over and be like suggesting too much or pushing you away in a certain direction. Be like, hey, no, let's do this instead. And I think that Matthew, you did that earlier because I had in my mind a certain thing about where Salvador Choi was, and you're like, well, I think Salvador Troy's on the island, and that was a much better idea. I really like it. But I was going in a different direction, and I appreciate you saying, no, no, no. Let's. I think of it this way. So that's
Yeah.
that's a nice cooperation or collaboration that I appreciate.
In
Um,
response to what you're saying, like, so just so you know, like Jamie and I, like, we're big, like, not just playing to find out, but we're big, like, oh, we're not invested in this game going in a specific direction, or this
mhm,
story even, like, going in a specific direction. And
yeah.
so, like, you can always count on us to yank and think of something like random ass and cool, even if it's not been forethought. On the flip side of that, like, please, like, let me know if I'm speaking out of turn or interrupting or anything like that. But I'm always here. We're always here to be a resource for like let's tap into some random ass tropes.
Sure. No, I
Yeah.
think everything you put in today was great. And Kyle, do you have any stars for us?
I think you covered it pretty well. Just yeah, it's a good session.
Great. And we'll snake back the other way. Kyle, do you have any wishes for next time?
Not really. Thinking about playing a survivor for
Survivor?
the next session. Yeah.
Okay. So start thinking about that. So the survivor is a little bit different. Actually, it fits in this situation pretty well because a survivor is someone that's been on the island for a while and somehow has been able to stay alive. So yeah, we'll flesh that out. Maybe keep an eye on the hangout, and I'll bounce around some questions for you to try to like flesh out your character a little bit between now and next time, or we'll do it when we sit down next Tuesday. Wishes for me, um, nothing really. I feel really good about. I think I sometimes when I play this game or other PBTA games, I'm at this point after the first session and I'm a disorganized mess because there's so much different plot lines and ideas that have been bounced out. It's hard to bring them together into something you can actually work with. But I actually feel pretty good about this one. So I'll go back. My only wish is my homework for myself is I'll go back and I'll watch this episode. I'll pick up on things that maybe I've forgotten about, tie some things together, and what's behind the scenes. I'll try to like tighten up a little bit. But otherwise, I feel pretty good about where we're at. Matthew, do you have any wishes for next time?
My wishes definitely is to take as many of the seeds that are here, or at least the juiciest ones, and pursue them to their most, well, maybe not extreme conclusion, but definitely to their most fun conclusion.
Yeah.
And definitely, as you can already tell by now, I'm invested in this whole paleontology, things surprising us. I will admit that when I started out Rolling's character, I thought more along the lines of something more horror like between Kyle's character and stuff, I was thinking like, Island of Dr. Moreau, Resident Evil, Doom, all of that kind of stuff. But this is so much more fun once you let the parrot dinosaurs out of their cages. Yeah. And I just
Not
want to say, Kyle, sorry, and I just want to
Go
say,
ahead.
Kyle, when you roll your Survivor, I will reference Beyonce's Survivor constantly.
And you may find in my mind some of the stuff spinning around. You may have your Island of Dr. Moreau stuff also. So there might be some of that going on also. So stay
How do I thumbs
tuned.
up there?
Yeah. All right. And Robbie, last word for us. Any wishes for next time?
Yeah, well, Kyle, I like the choice of going with the survivor, which will add an interesting kind of element to the mix, and I guess also that would tie into the a wish of we've got Salvatore possibly hanging in the wings somewhere, possibly Aunt Maggie hanging in the wings somewhere. So I kind of like interested in how some of those figures may kind of make some appearance in the next session.
Okay. Yep, definitely.
I mean, granting Jason's like vision or ideas, like theoretically, that doesn't stop Kyle from rolling Salvador or Aunt Maggie
Yes.
Yeah.
if you really wanted to.
Yeah, that's totally an option. I would say, first of all, Kyle, if you want to play one of these NPCs that we know has been on the island, sure. Uh, then I would need whoever it is came up with that NPC, which would be Maggie, would be Robbie, and Salvador would be Matthew. To say that that's cool with them, and then maybe they can put their 2 cents in as to kind of like what this person's about. But yeah, that's an option. I mean, there's we'll talk more either during the week or next time, but there are certainly a lot of possible survivors. So there's a lot of directions you can go with
And
that.
no pressure. And
No.
no pressure. You can roll your OG character too.
Yeah, you can make up something totally from left field, that we haven't even talked about. I mean, like I said, we're still in building it as we go kind of mode. So think about it, Kyle. But we know we'll go with the concept of a survivor, and we'll fit it in next time. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much. A lot of fun. I will hope to see you guys all next Tuesday, same time, same channel. Goodbye.
Bye bye.